Second, spontaneous speaking. I actually had to talk about cheese for 5 minutes. It's a very interesting experience. In extemporaneous speaking, I talk about United States politics. But in spontaneous speaking, it's fun topics such as cheese.
Charlie, thank you, as always. You are greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you for stepping up, Charlie.
That brings us to 3.04. At this time, any member of the audience may address the board with comments about items of interest or concern. Citizens wishing to address the board during public comment must complete the board input form located in the back corner of the room there prior to speaking at the podium. In its entirety prior to speaking at the podium. Please state your name and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. As a reminder, Iowa law prohibits discussing specific employees or their job performance. We caution those making comments that what they say could violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy. If you are unsure of the legal effect of your remarks, you should seek independent advice prior to making comments. All right, moving on.
I actually submitted to speak, but I can't get to the podium.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. We have a full house tonight.
Hey, sorry about that. My name's Mindy Smith-Pace, and first of all, congratulations to the new members of the board, and thank you for all the ones who are serving, who have been serving. We really appreciate all your hard work. I just wanted to point out that in recent events in the news, it was suggested that area education agencies might be something. I apologize for not being able to turn when I'm talking in the microphone. Might be something that in the future is severely, funding is severely changed or even eliminated. And I just want to point out that almost 30%, if not more, of our students in our district use those services to find kids with disabilities who need help in classrooms, to help educate our teachers, and to help those kids get services like speech, technological services, kids with autism, of course, hearing and vision testing, speech pathology, school psychology, even social work and transition services. So there are lots and lots of families affected by this in our school district. And I wanted to make sure that the board was aware of that, and also that we come up with a plan for future reference if that does happen, and also that the community is aware so that we can support our school board, our school, and let legislators know that we're very concerned about how this could affect our children and the transitioning adults in our community. And I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to consider how the importance of AEA and how we work as a community to make our schools as good as they are. And we need AEA supports. I'm a parent and grandparent of children who all use those supports, and they would not be where they are today, which is most of them are independent with jobs and houses of their own, and they could not have done that without the support of AEA. Other states don't have as a wonderful system as we do, and I really don't want to see that change. So I just please ask people to talk to their legislators and to support the board in any way they can when they look at funding and services and how we're going to preserve those services for our families. Thank you.
Thank you. Holly, you said you had other names there.
Hi, my name is Kelly Seifer. I want to start off by letting you know that I am a staff member in the district, but tonight I'm coming to you as a concerned parent of what we're teaching and expecting of our young children with our new curriculum and some of the misinformation that's being shared about how it's going. My daughter has come home time and time again discussing concerning content that I initially hoped was a fluke. The unit she just went over has content that is in no way age appropriate. Some examples include my daughter being in 3rd grade, 8 and 9-year-olds learning about ancient Rome. This unit discusses drowning babies, shows pictures of undressed or barely dressed statues of the gods and goddesses they discuss. It covers the story about how Cupid, husband of Psyche, visits her in bed at night and, I quote, treating her tenderly. There are other parts of this story that belittles women and consequences them for their independence and curiosity. There are pictures of men being stabbed with swords. It discusses in detail many weapons and killings. It is entirely possible to teach this age group about ancient Rome and not include parts that are not relevant and details that may be too much. The student opinion piece for this unit asked students to discuss whether they felt Caesar was a traitor or not after covering in detail he was murdered for being considered a traitor by his close friends. Do we really want kids this age forming opinions about whether or not it's okay to murder someone? This week they are doing their unit assessments. I walk into a classroom where half of them are crying because they don't understand the content. Without any assistance from the teacher, they are expected to infer from an article topics they didn't cover in detail that uses vocabulary they don't understand. These assessments span the entire week due to the length and complexity of them. When I hear that teachers don't feel comfortable teaching some of the content and are gravely concerned about the content not being age appropriate, I trust their judgment. All of this information, I have been told, has been brought to building and district administration, and the response was to teach as is. We need to be trusting our teachers' opinions regarding something the administration adopted without properly reviewing or piloting it, despite the fact we have piloted every other curriculum we've purchased. My question as a parent is why the material itself wasn't read extensively, researched, or piloted. Also, why aren't we listening to and respecting our teachers when they voice these concerns? These examples don't even begin to scratch the surface. To quote a meeting I attended with district leadership over the summer, students must be the heart of our work. When we have students that are not meeting benchmark standards, but they are now being expected to learn complex vocabulary words, which for third graders include barbarian, illustrious, dejected, impertinence, ambrosia, conspirator, and mercenary, to name a few, we're completely losing and failing them. We're creating an environment that only sets them up to fall farther and farther behind. We need to return to being a district that does focus on students, their needs, priorities, prioritizes age-appropriate level learning, and actually makes them the heart of our work. Even after having my child come home to tell me other stories, like covering a piece about a dead body on a mountain and being asked to discuss why the decomposition of the corpse was delayed on a mountaintop, I have tried to presume positive intent with this new curriculum. I've given it months to start becoming something that I feel is actually benefiting our students, despite reading many articles about how inappropriate the material is for these kids. But after multiple weeks of hearing things that aren't age appropriate and too complex for this age group, I feel the need to ask that this content be reviewed and amended to be appropriate for the ages we are teaching it. These topics are important to learn, but it's imperative that we teach it at an age where they are developmentally able and ready to learn and comprehend the material. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Brian Gerskis. I've chatted with many of the folks before, and thank you for letting me come up tonight. I'm just going to do a quick recap on our fall recruitment for the Boy Scouts in the Bett Community School District. We covered a lot at the last meeting I was here. This is where we're at now. So we still have 2 packs. One of our fantastic Cub Masters is right over there. Mr. Mike Burns. Mike's great. He does a good job at Paul Norton School in Nimby. I think they're right around 46 scouts, right around there. Mike had a net gain. Our other pack that meets at Mark Twain, they had a loss. They have a total of 39 scouts. So we went from 77 to 85. So we gained a handful, 6 scouts. So I'm excited what the future's gonna bring. Our scouts kicked butt this year with Toys for Tots, record stuff coming in. They did it great. So their toy drive, they did good. Everybody's getting ready for Christmas and the holidays, so I want you all to have a Merry Christmas, and I look forward to scouting with you all in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleen, was there anyone else who had sent anything in? Okay. Anyone else who would like to come forward? Now is your opportunity. All right, moving on to 3.05, Board Shared Communication. Director Lynch, please start with you, sir.
I've been busy getting ready for what's going to be our spring work. It started at the ISB convention. We'll talk more about that later. But last week I then attended an ISFIS webinar all about some of the changes to our board process, to our budget process that were enacted last year. So I'm trying to get up to speed so I'm ready so that I can help us do things the way we need to do them now.
Thank you, sir. Director Dorder. Thank you. Director Petich.
I am usually fairly quiet during shared communication, but I am going to take a few minutes here to say some things that I think need to be said. For any people in the audience that don't know, this is my last board meeting. I didn't run for re-election, so I'm riding off into the sunset. I was going to do the Carol Burnett goodbye segment song, but sadly I don't think any students would know what that is, and even more sadly I don't think most of the staff would even know what that is anymore, so I'm not going to do that. I've been on this board for over 8 years. Back when I got on, the elections were back in September, so it's been 8 years and 3 months, and I would say that my time on the board has been bittersweet. Just likewise, my leaving is bittersweet. There are going to be some things that I miss. There are going to be some things that I don't miss. It's kind of like watching your mother-in-law drive off a cliff in an old classic Cadillac. You know, it's bittersweet. You hate to see that Cadillac go off the cliff. But in all seriousness, during my time on the board, I do think that we've done some good things. We put a maximum cap on class size in the grade school. We built 2 new grade schools. We closed 1. We have made many improvements to our facilities for safety and general upkeep and comfort. We've devised a plan for our Edison campus for the future. And we have had countless accolades for our academics, our student council, performing arts, sports teams. You heard about speech and debate tonight. This is all both individual as well as team. The problem is we don't have anywhere to showcase any of these achievements except for this out in the hallway for what Charlie mentioned. More on that in a bit. But I'm very proud of our academics, from our special ed services to our advanced placement offerings, which for any that doesn't know, we offer most of both of those more than any school in the area. And from our new and exciting CTE programs and our dual enrollment curriculums with Scott Community College. We still have some work to do to get proficiencies up and discipline better, but we have a lot going for us, and we should be very optimistic about the future of this district. We have the ingredients. I don't think there's a parent out there that is unhappy with their child's teacher. We have the correct ingredients. We just need to mix them together and bake it. And the board needs to set the atmosphere so that our teachers can truly teach and do what they do best and not have to worry about distractions and disruptive students and these sorts of things. So you can probably see where I'm going from here. I'm going to kind of rip on the board a little bit here, not anybody individually, but just on some topics. The new board is going to be sworn in here in a few minutes, and I'd like to offer some advice to those new incoming members, as well as those directors that are not leaving their chairs tonight. We've paid a lot of money over the last years for consultants, and so I'll give this advice for free. But take my advice for what it's worth. You know, this is not the only board I've been on over the last 25 years. I've been on dozens of boards and at all levels. And I don't mean this to be braggadocious. I say this because I have seen high functioning boards and I have seen terrible performing boards. But I do have the vision that the optics of this current board to the public is not good. Oftentimes we don't treat each other with respect, and I'll say something and I get looked at like I have 3 heads, or Director Castro and I will get chastised for saying some things, and we don't even treat some of the community members that come to the podium with the best respect, and I don't know why that is. I don't know what everybody sitting here views the board, what they truly feel in their heart about the board or each other, but to me it's lopsided, unilateral if you will, and I don't think the focus of this current board was where it should be. For those new directors about to be sworn in, you're going to hear a paper about the 8 effective traits, or the 8 traits that make an effective board member. And it's a great primer, or primer if you prefer that pronunciation, to teach you the basics, such as, believe that each child can learn. And I don't think you'd be taking this role if you don't believe that. It also teaches you to stay focused on the direction or the vision, the big picture, and not get caught up in the weeds of applying those things when it comes to running the school. But you don't want to get caught up in the weeds of running that vision. The rest of it, though, can be boiled down to basically the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd like done to you. Be nice, be respectful, listen to other people's opinions, and that's great, and you should follow those things. But I feel when you're sitting at this table, there are 3 things that should be looked at when you're deciding yes or no on a vote. I think there's 3 things you need to ask yourself. The first thing is this the best thing for the students? These are not in that paper. Is this the best thing for the students of this district? And it might just be a segment of the student. You might be looking at a second grade curriculum, but is it the best thing for the students of this district? Secondly, if the first one doesn't apply, then is it the best thing for the taxpayers of this district? Will it keep goodwill amongst the taxpayers and the stakeholders? And thirdly, if neither one or two apply, which is rare because usually those are the bulk of the decisions we make, but it will occasionally happen, is this the best thing for the district to retain its talent? And that's it. And it's in those orders. Students are first, but it's students, taxpayers, and the talent of the district. And that's all that needs to be considered, in my opinion, when you're sitting here. So despite some eye rolling that I'm probably getting from other people, I want to give a couple of examples of things that I think this new board should undertake and potentially undo. First, I would please ask you to have the Legacy Hall people back, because they wanted to gift us a very badly needed $3 to $3.5 million facility expansion at the high school. This would have been awesome, with 2 exclamation points. We have such, and we gave them such an underwhelming response, and we haven't heard from them again. And I'm going to get some flack for this because we technically didn't tell them no. But in so many words, we really did in reality, because it was so backhanded and underwhelming that you could tell that they weren't going to do any sort of future fundraising for this, and the project died. But I would bring them back, and I would apologize profusely and see if they won't reconsider. And hopefully, they haven't moved on to some other philanthropy. Secondly, I'd bring the Cub Scouts back. And we kind of got a little taste of that tonight, hopefully. But this is actually a 2-for-1 piece of advice. One, I'd bring the Cub Scouts back. I'd apologize because they weren't treated the best at the podium either, but we have an actual vote of the people sitting at the board, because we told them no, but it was not because of a vote of the board. It was a legal opinion, and that's the second thing. Our decision to them was a legal opinion, and I'm no lawyer, but I failed to see how every other surrounding district can have them in and they can skirt the legalities of this, but we somehow couldn't. It just doesn't make sense to me. This board has relied too heavily on legal advice as of late, and in some cases, it's actually gotten us in some trouble. Instead, I think we need to rely on some common sense. I'm no fool. I know legal matters are clearly a reality in today's world, but not in every decision you make. And we've gotten kind of silly in this regard. I mean, look at our president's statement. It takes 2 minutes to read. It used to be something that was 15 seconds, and people come up and say something. But I don't know what we're afraid of. I mean, these are the people that live and work and raise their kids and send their kids here. What are we afraid of? We should be able to hear what they have to say and not scare them away with legal talk. I just think we've gotten silly in this lately. And keep in mind, legal advice is not free. We've spent some money on that in the last couple of years. And community members see this. We need to stop making excuses for why the GO bond failed or why this last school board election went the way it did. People are watching, and people voted the way they voted for a reason. That is the reality of this. And when the board states that to a question that sometimes no answer is an answer, it's not going to fly, and it's insulting and it's unacceptable. And that's pretty much all I have to say. I am going to miss Colleen. But I certainly didn't try to aim my comments at any one particular person. I just think the board needs to do better. We have a great district. Not only do we have great parents, but we possess all the correct ingredients to keep moving forward in a very good way. But the board needs to promote that and not get in the way. And I wish this new board, the district, and all the students and staff the very best of luck, sincerely. And for those board members that aren't leaving their seats tonight, take what I said here to heart, because you might not have liked what I said, but you know it's true. Thank you for your indulgence.
I just want to say thank you to the 3 board members that are leaving. Because throughout the years I've known you, we're not always on the same page, but the 3 of you, that's collectively 16 years of your life. And anybody who's willing to spend time on an unpaid board, I do appreciate your service, especially to a public school district, because it's never an easy job. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Smith.
I wanted to thank the outgoing board members as well. On Monday, we had another Bett Academy. Director Champion was there. I'm really sorry that you couldn't make it, Director Castro. I know you were supposed to be on the board, on the panel, and it would have been awesome to hear from you. But we had a nice showing. It was a good turnout. There were probably 10 people there. Wish we had a few more. It'd be great to see more community members at those. We had a tour of the facility, and then we did a panel. And it would have been nice to see more people there. So that's it.
Thank you, Director Castro.
I also would like to thank the three outgoing board members, especially Director Eastman and Director Dorter. We recently got a special award in Des Moines for the IASB for better boardsmanship, et cetera, and they were very instrumental in helping us get that. They attended state conventions and did a lot of extra work above and beyond the normal board work, so I think without their diligence in doing those kinds of things, we would not have gotten that award in Des Moines. So thank you to all for your time and services, and we appreciate everything that you did.
Thank you. Brings us to 3.06, Superintendent's report.
I will pass on this one, and I will pick it up at the next meeting.
All right, that brings us to 3.07, School Board State Award.
I'll do this in a minute. So, the Iowa Association of School Boards, the IASB, presented the 2022-2023 Annual Board Awards on November 16th during the IASB Annual Convention in Des Moines. The awards are given each year to board members, board teams, and superintendents, AEA chief administrators, and community college presidents who are committed to improving their knowledge and skills by attending IASB-led learning events. This year, we have a record number of recipients for the annual boards program in each of the three categories. The total number of recipients has nearly doubled from the previous year, said Elizabeth Brodman, IASB board president. I'm impressed with the high standard of service that these board members and superintendents, AEA chiefs, and board teams are setting for their peers across the state. They are modeling learning for students in their district, in addition to using that learning to improve education for those same students. Kudos. Individual Achievement Award certificates were presented to 218 board members from 92 pre-K through 12 school boards, 4 area AEA boards, and 1 community college board. Recipients completed a minimum of 15 hours of learning in 1 year. Team Achievement Award plaques were presented to 30 school boards that had a majority of the board members earn the Individual Achievement Award. Our board is one of those 30. And then Director Lynch, Director Dorter, Director Eastman, and myself have earned individual awards, and Bettendorf was awarded the district award.
Thank you for that. That brings us to 3.08. On November 16th, Bettendorf Community School District Superintendent Dr. Michelle Morris also received an award to honor the participation in continuing her learning as a superintendent, and received the award through IASB for superintendents who go above and beyond to continue their learning for the service of their school district. So congratulations, Dr. Morris. 4.01, do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Director Champion?
Yes.
Director Dorter?
Yes.
Director Eastman?
Yes.
Director Lynch?
Yes.
Director Pevich?
Yes.
Director Smithson?
Yes.
Director Castro?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you. Brings us to 5.01. Do I have a motion?
Sorry, I can make a motion for 5.01, 2023 school board election results.
And a second, please.
I will second that.
Do you want me to approve? Do I need to read the recommended action? Yeah, I will read that so we know we're doing this right. Approve the Scott County Auditor's Office as the official results of the school board election, certifying Paul Castro, Kevin Freckine, Patrick Larkin, and Ryan McGivern as the elected directors.
Roll call, please.
Director Dorter?
Yes.
Director Eastman?
Yes.
Director Lynch?
Yes.
Director Pevich?
Yes.
Director Smithson?
Yes.
Director Castro?
Yes.
Director Champion?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you. That brings us to 5.02, November financials. Do I have a motion, please?
I move we approve the October and November financials as presented.
And a second?
I'll second.
Bob?
Hi, Bob.
As I've stated before, we're right on track. We're keeping pace with where we were, where we expected to be, both revenue and expenses. And when I present December's financials in January, you'll notice that this is the month where we have our first of 3 paychecks. So you'll notice that that is much greater than the prior year's time. But that will be the major difference. The rest of the funds are moving in the direction we thought they would. We're receiving our revenues as accordingly and controlling our expenses as, make sure we stay within the budgets. Speaking of budgets, Director Lynch mentioned the budget changes, and yes, there are a lot of budget changes with regards to that, I think is the polite way to put it. It will more than likely require an additional board meeting because of the additional hearing that has to take place during the budget process. I'll be presenting to you probably at the second board meeting in January with regards to that new system that we're going to be involved in. I will be in a workshop on the day after the board meeting, so it would have been nice to have it the day before, but workshop's the day after, so we'll be able to update the board with where we are in the budgeting process at that time a little bit better. But there are many changes and regulations that the district has to go through this year that were in addition to what we had done in the past. Are there any questions regarding the financials? Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Roll call, please.
Director Eastman?
Yes.
Director Lynch?
Yes.
Director Peters?
Yes.
Director Smithson?
Yes.
Director Castro?
Yes.
Director Chapian?
Yes.
Director Dorter?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you. That brings us to 5.03, resolution to set the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
We'll make a motion for 5.03, approve the resolution to set the public hearing for the disposition of school property 438 16th Street, Bendorf, Iowa, for December 14, 2023, at 6 p.m. in the boardroom at the District Administration Center.
And a second, please.
Actually, a question. We're approving to do a public hearing at a time that is already passed.
No, it's for January 3rd.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so I will amend my motion for 5.03, and we're going to do it, what, can you specify the date?
January 3rd, 2024 at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Richard.
The resolution is correct.
Yes.
It's just it was written incorrectly there.
And were you going to second that?
Second.
Okay, and then can I have someone read the resolution, please?
Whereas the Board of Directors of the Benton Community School District has received a proposal to convey an interest in real property to 1525 Brown Street LLC for $600,000 and other good and valuable consideration. Property is locally known as 438 16th Street, Bettendorf, Iowa 52722, and is legally described as follows. Lots 1, 2, and 3 in Block 4 in the town, now city of Bettendorf, Scott County, Iowa. Whereas it is appropriate pursuant to Iowa Code Section 297.22 to publish a notice of the proposed conveyance and of the hearing and to receive and consider objections and petitions. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Bettendorf Community School District. Section 1, that this board shall set a public hearing on the conveyance of the above described property for January 3, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Administrative Center located at 3311 18th Street, Bettendorf, Iowa 52722. Section 2, that the Secretary is authorized and directed to prepare, publish, and distribute the notice of hearing. Passed and approved this 14th day of December 2023.
Thank you for reading.
Any questions or comments regarding this motion? Roll call.
Director Lynch?
Yes.
Director Peters?
Yes.
Director Smithson?
Yes.
Director Castro?
Yes.
Director Chapian?
Yes.
Director Dorter?
Yes.
Director Eastman?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you. Brings us to 6.01, upcoming calendar items. Thank you, Celeste, for displaying them. Brings us to 7.01.
Someone?
Thank you.